Welcome to the game reviews where the score doesn't matter. Kind of like your heart after playing this game. It ain't gonna be there no more. So come be a part of the jury as we take Resident Evil 7 through gracious judgment.
Resident Evil 7 is developed by Capcom, available on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation with VR compatibility for the price tag of only $60. So let's get to it. Story first. Resident Evil 7 starts with you, Ethan Winters, heading into the bayou of Louisiana to pick up your missing wife, Mia. This game is an absolute creep fest from the very beginning, bringing back the nostalgia of heading into yet another Resident Evil mansion, this time owned by the Baker family, a family that will give you some scares and troubles along the way. The story itself is very well written and has a nicely orchestrated loop that brings it all back together to you in the end. Gameplay. This was actually my favorite part about the game. Other than being in first person, this installment felt like Resident Evil to its core. With the severe inventory management, fun puzzles to solve, though not overly difficult, even doing some investigative work, reading every journal entry and photo you come across, which usually gave you a hint as to where to go next, and even explains why certain items ended up where they did on the map. My only two real complaints about the gameplay itself was the lack of different types of enemies to fight. Other than the Baker family in the mansion, who were just spectacular, the other enemies were just creepy, gooey monsters. And you might have seen them in 3 or 4 different variations, and 2 of them just so happen to be bosses. I may be the only one that thinks this, but I was a little bummed out that I didn't encounter one zombie in a Resident Evil game. Yeah, I know, we're tired of zombie games. But man, that's what I always felt like Resident Evil was all about, zombies. There wasn't one in this game that I found. Then the number 2 thing was the final boss fight. After such a fantastic game, to have it end on a fight that did it the way it did just left me kind of scratching my head. Like, wow, this was so freaking awesome until this point. I mean, it didn't ruin the experience for me by any means, but I was still sitting there feeling a little underwhelmed with the final fight. I was like, come on, guys. Come on. You had to have had a little more left in you. I mean, really? I actually thought probably about halfway to 3/4 through the game that I was fighting the final boss because it was such an epic fight. Turned out it wasn't. The game probably could have ended there and I would have been just as happy. But either way, that's besides the point. Like I said, it did not ruin the experience for me. I still enjoyed it very much. But one thing that did surprise me was that they allowed us to have multiple endings based on some choices that you make. I will never complain about that. And there's also a good variety of weapons for this type of game. You get 3 pistols, a shotgun, a flamethrower, rocket launcher, machine gun, remote detonating bombs, and an assortment of melee weapons along the way. Capcom also adds a harder difficulty once you complete the game, changing up monster spawns, how much damage they can take, even making it harder to save, requiring you to have cassette tapes to save your game. Though the last one is really more of an annoyance rather than added difficulty. And finally, my dream came true. I didn't realize it was going to be so soon, but it finally happened. In VR, we got our first real RPG experience. Thank you, Capcom. I appreciate that. That's fantastic. I hope companies are more willing to take the dive to try to create these great worlds in virtual reality. I mean, it's quite the thing to see. They even did a very good job at giving plenty of options for those of us like me that get very nauseated when playing in VR, allowing you to adjust your crouches, your turns, and the tunnel vision. And guys, without VR, this game is really creepy. But with VR, it becomes your worst freaking nightmare. Dead serious. I feel that this game could genuinely give someone a heart attack. I'm not kidding. The only problem I really had with the VR was when walking, I started to get kind of wanderlust and I'd want to look and see all these crazy things going on around me. Well, whenever you turn your head, instead of following the motion that you're doing with the left stick, if you're playing on console, if you're playing on PC, pushing the whatever key that moves you forward. Instead of keeping moving forward, you're going to move in the direction that you turn your head. So something that I would like to see in future games is that allow us to turn our heads and just keep on going straight, going in the direction that our thumb is pointing to go, and just let us look around as we do that.
Now, do you want to see my name in the obituaries? Or do you want to be a hero and save my life? A fucking pocket knife?
Here, take it. That's all you're gonna get. Now go, garage, now.
Time for supper.
Who are all you people? Where's Mia?
Eat it. It's good.
Dumb son bitch wasn't no good if it hit him.
Yes.
You were right. I did lie to you. I shouldn't have. All I can say is that if you get this, stay away.
Music, sound, and voice. The music in this game is actually non-existent, besides the song at the beginning. But the voice acting seems actually very good and fit the location and setting of the game. The sound is a little hit and miss when it comes to effects, especially with weapons and guns sounding like a Nerf gun, but the flamethrower was very impressive. But where it really shined was the atmospheric sounds that immersed you into the world of Resident Evil. You know, the little things like the creaking of a floorboard, water dripping into a molded pan, or just the wind roaring outside giving you chills that just seep down your spine. Those sounds play their part perfectly. Graphics. This game actually looks great. And yes, I said actually, because truth be told, I didn't really expect it to. Frames hold at a steady 60 frames per second 95% of the time. The ray of light shining through boarded up windows with dust particles flying throughout, having melee weapons actually feel like they have weight behind them when you swing, cutting slashes into wooden podiums and whatever your heart's desire to cut. They even thrilled me with little attentions to detail, like on the pistols whenever your clip runs out. The slide stays in the back position. It doesn't just look like the gun normally does. You can actually tell that your pistol is out of ammunition. That is a job well done. Attention to detail can make a great game. But that's all I really have to say about it, my friends. If you do have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments below. More than happy to answer them for you. Maybe something you're still a little curious about. And just for the sake of it, let's give it a 942,872, just because I can. Remember, scores mean nothing. What really matters is you as a consumer, and if you feel like you're going to get your money's worth. The score does not tell you if you're going to like the game. So, hopefully this video has helped you in some way. I always say watch 2 or 3 more reviewers, because different opinions are a good thing, and people see different things while playing the game. So, until next time, you all take care, have a good week, and always remember, game with grace.